in a Bustol. So let's now dive back into our program.
To introduce our next speaker, we call on Mr. Jose Marci Aicardo.
Good morning. So it's an honor to introduce our second resource speaker, a physician by profession, currently serving as medical officer for at the Department of Health Central Visayas Center for Health Development since 2016, and the section head of the Regional Health Emergency Management Services of the Department of Health Region 7. He was designated as the Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management in Health Manager of the Department of Health Central Visayas Center for Health Development since 2018. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Doctors University and completed a Doctor of Medicine degree at the same institution. He obtained a Master in Public Health from prestigious Southwestern University, and he graduated Master in Crisis and Disaster Risk Management from the Philippine Public Safety College. His extensive educational background has equipped him with a unique perspective on health and safety, enabling him to effectively address public health challenges. Previously, he served as a resident physician at the Associated Marine Officers and Seamen's Union of the Philippines, also known as Amusok Seamen's Hospital. He began his public health career as a municipal health officer from 2012 to 2016 in one of the municipalities in Cebu South. Currently, he holds the position of treasurer for the Cebu Medical Society, a component of the Philippine Medical Association. He is also a DOH National Facilitator for Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Training, as well as a National Facilitator for Public Health Emergency Management in the Philippines training. A very dynamic, passionate, and proactive in the field of disaster risk reduction and management in health and in public health in general. He has been instrumental in implementing several initiatives such as institutionalizing the linkage system in province-wide and city-wide health systems in Central Visayas, aimed at improving community resilience. Esteemed guests and participants, please join me in welcoming Dr. Shalbay G. Blanco.
Okay, so mayo buntag sa tanan. Pardon me with my horse noises. I've been talking a lot this week because currently we have our barangay drainage planning as well. And being the main facilitator for the particular planning workshop, so most of the topic is not by me as well. So nevertheless, no, so for my topic, I will be discussing to you unraveling the values of public health through the stories of resilience and the drainage way, so the disaster risk reduction and management in health way, and of course, particularly in the health sector. Okay, so to begin with, what is public health? I know you already know this part. We'll just have a quick run through of what public health is. Of course, this is a branch of medicine which deals with more of preventative. promotive, and of course, curative health services. And through organized community actions. So meaning this will require community to take part, to participate. So they not government, but also let the community participate because at the end, we should empower them. So this one, it's a cliche, but it's the tip of the iceberg. When we talk of public health, these are the patients in the hospital. What we doctors see at the hospital level, but down the line, when we talk of whatever diagnosis or even mental health, as the previous speaker had discussed, these are the patients that we see in the community. And that's why government as well, particularly Department of Health, is going through sa pinakauyukan ng communities, and that is through the Pagkalusugan na program as well. So that's the main difference why of public health and as well as the medical model. So medical model more individual, public health, a collective form of the community. Of course, going into disaster medicine, this is a branch of healthcare again, and which focus on assessing public health risks, planning for future disasters, and of course implementing emergency strategies so that it would be faster recovery. So, nevertheless, if you also go through school curriculum, this is now being integrated into the school curriculum. Now, when we talk about disaster management, this would be now the organization, the planning, and of course, the application of measures. So the plans that we have crafted would be part of this one, disaster management. So, of course, talking about disaster management, really not to kalimutan, part of that would be disaster risk reduction. So, it's a systematic approach to identifying, assessing, and of course, reducing the existing risks that we have. And talking about the health part, the health risks. And there's so much more when we talk of disasters, the loss of lives, injuries, casualties, disruption of health services, among others, and not to mention disruption of livelihood, and it will have the disruption of mga social determinants of health as well are being affected when we talk of disasters. So, tonight, disaster management is also disaster risk management. And this is now the application of what we have talked about, the disaster risk reduction. So talking about risk, the risk that we have analyzed, of course, we would now focus on risk identification, that's one. Second, risk analysis, and going through risk management. Okay, so when we talk of disaster risk management and disaster risk reduction, these are the 7 common and fundamental terms. So, kung involved ka with green, disaster risk reduction management, these are the key 7 fundamental terms that you should know. So, talking about hazard, these are any potential threat. So, you already know that. And for example, if you have earthquake, that is a natural hazard, and the vulnerability there if you have tall buildings. So talking about vulnerability, these are the characteristics and the circumstance of a community system or asset, and which makes it susceptible to hazards. So if earthquake, so if we have more tall buildings, particularly in urban areas, then of course that would be part of our vulnerability. Flood. those that are living, those residents or the areas that are low-lying, of course, will be part of our vulnerability. And of course, if you have wildfire, the vulnerability there is if you don't have any firefighting equipment. Okay, so relating the three concepts, you have there hazard plus your vulnerabilities, and that will equal to your risk. They don't, when we have risk, it's the combination of the probability of an event or a hazard and its negative consequences. So therefore, risk is tantamount or equal to the consequences or the impacts of your disaster. So diyan gusto ka inyong vulnerable moment, you will be at risk. So again, when we talk of vulnerabilities, we have two types. We have intrinsic vulnerability and we have extrinsic vulnerability. So when we look at intrinsic vulnerability, that would take on non-modifiable characteristics. For example, the elderly, the very young, those are part of the intrinsic vulnerability of a person. But extrinsic vulnerability would be more of modifiable. So ang imo socioeconomic status would be considered a vulnerability, especially if you have less. And then we have the three next mga fundamental terms. We have your emergency. Kung ang hazard is potential threat, then your emergency will be the actual threat. Then you have disaster. It's still the same, it's an actual threat, but there is already serious disruption of the community that they would no longer respond to the situation. So one have disaster siya. And in between that would be your capacity. So capacity at kapasidad. So it will talk about our combination of all our strengths, attributes, and of course, the resources that is available within the community. So that would now entail laws, our protocols, our guidelines, our people. Say mga kapasidad, if our people are competent or trained, then that will fall under our capacities, our equipment, our logistics, the knowledge that we have, even the knowledge and the awareness of our community to these specific disasters would also be part of the capacity. And last of the seven fundamental terms would be the community. It has its 5 elements: the people, the livelihood, the services, the property, and of course the environment. And they know these 5 elements are the ones that determine our vulnerabilities. For example, people. Diba? So diyan sunod ang intrinsic vulnerability sa katao. Diyan sa sunod ang extrinsic vulnerability sa katao. Kung pobre siya. And of course, mas malingaw siyang tapag sa gobyerno. In terms of response and recovery. And of course, you also have there to train atong mga staff that also involve human development. Property, kung natay hospital, kung natay mga bridge, natay mga lingkod na dalan, part of that because kung suyaan ang health, kung lingkod ang road network, faster ang pagdagan ang referral system sa country. And of course, we have services. So, konektado ang property ang services. Services, kung na disaster, niya kinataka with the particular situation. So, there is disruption of basic health services, the delivery itself. And there will be disruption or mas hinay ang pag-recover nato sa disaster. So, diyan, musulod ang These are the factors that we have to look into when we talk about emergency preparedness and responses. Then livelihood. Diba? Lisod kayo kung ito na COVID-19 prevention out into cash forward, explore other means of livelihood because people are especially us more on tourism base, diba? Or fishing farming, diba? Kung tayo kung saan padaon ang atong isdaan or atong kaupahan, then it would also really have an effect in our health system. Okay, what was the capacity? So the social determinants of health, food security, water security will also be affected down the line. And then environment. So we have a sunod, kung polluted ang environment, then that forms part of our vulnerability. Kung especially climate change now, nagkakusog ang bagyo. So how do we take note of ecosystem? So dapat ang ecosystem should be healthy as well because really it will also impact us. Tama na mo yung sa community. Okay, so this one, if not the hazard and the vulnerabilities, we have determined these things, then equal to our risk. Kung natin coping capacity, it will just be an emergency. Because we have the capacity to cope with the situation. But, kung wala, yeah, so na disaster. Because the community has lost its structure to regain control. And manginanglan siya, another entity to make it functional ang ilang community. So, they have sold, for example, NGO, they have sold ang province, kung municipality na siya. Kung mag-declare outbreak, for example, ang sa kasyudad, then, they have sold ang province, kung ang components ito siya. Kung province na po affected, then they have sold ang region. And so on and so forth. Now that leads us to the Greenwich formula. So kung natin hazard, then times the vulnerability equal to your disaster risk, which is infinite. No? So divided by your capacity. And how can we decrease our disaster risk? Of course, we reduce or we prevent, we mitigate our hazard. We also decrease our vulnerability. And we have to add prevention and mitigation part. And as well as increase our capacity. So that that would now involve our preparedness. So more dapat atong buhaton in terms of reducing our risk and managing our risks as well. So points to ponder, all disasters are emergencies. But we know not all emergencies are disasters. Disasters are preventable if we can manage our emergencies. And last, we can manage emergencies by being prepared to manage our disaster risk. That's why, first and foremost, we have to determine our risk scope, our disaster risks. So, if you could see, these are the phases of disaster. So, natural, technological, everyday. We have sea pollution, we have societal, so armed conflicts. We have also dry spell, but as well as this one, emerging and emerging diseases. So we have Spanish flu, for example. So we have COVID-19, measles outbreak, and right now, there's ongoing outbreaks of Metro Manila. One of the cities has already declared outbreak, deadly outbreak, because increasing in the cases of dengue. And you have avian flu, you have also HIV and AIDS, which actually it's considered by World Health Organization as an ongoing epidemic. When I enter UH, the case is just 26 cases per day undiagnosed. But right now, it's going to 36 to 40 cases. So, every day. So, nagkadaghan ang kaso sa HIV and AIDS. That's why, later on, by 2015, tinalik nila na those condition could even affect our children. So, it's an ongoing epidemic. Then the next few slides, I'll just be flashing through disasters in numbers based on Center for Research on Epidemiology of Disasters. So there is such thing at the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Center for CRED, Center for Research on Epidemiology of Disasters. So in 2021, these are the reported disasters. These are the deaths. No death. These are the people affected, 101.8 billion and 252 billion US dollars have been lost economically. Of course, in Asia, since kami pinakatako na continent, kita sa ang pinakatako, pinakatagdagan disasters. So, 2001 to 2020, 437 ang reported disasters. But they told in 2021, 431 in 1 year alone. So, the effects also of climate change has already set in. Nagkataghan na ang disasters reported. And from 2001 to 2020, 193.4 number of affected. In 2021, 101.8. It could be more, no, but people in 2021 alone lang na siya. So nagkagatan sa tao affected. Kung daghan ang tao affected, sa discuss sa previous speaker, our mental health would also be affected. The psychological impacts of disaster. Okay, so 2001 to 2020, the number of deaths is 61,000. But in 2021, that's ilang percent? 10,000. So kung ato rate natin, it's just still 1 year alone na reported. So it's that na ang mga time. And all the more that we have to be prepared. U.S. Economic losses, 2001 to 2020, 153.8 billion US dollars. In 2021, that's 100 million more. So, and in the Philippines, we are geographically located in a spot na kaon kayo sa Lisgo areas. So we are located in the Pacific Ring of Fire. Mabitaw ng kadula tayo, 24 active volcanoes. Usa na diha ang Taglaon. Usa na diha ang Pound Payon. And they told kung yung tao active volcano, naka-erupt siya, nasa yung major eruption within the 10,000 years. So Mount Pinatubo is still considered active volcano. Imagine ka, 24. So, mas tagal pa sa ako ang Indonesia with 140 active volcanoes. Of course, we are also noted as an exporter of typhoon because aking ato ang mga bagyo padulong sa Vietnam, padulong sa China, and imagine 15 to 20 typhoons a year. Climate change, as I've said, is already set in. Global warming. And with global warming, the melting of the glaciers. Kung nag-melt ang glaciers, affected sa sea level. It has this ongoing rising of sea level, and at the same time, in 2050 na ay noted na mga submerged sa below sea level. This is in Manila, sa taas. This is in Cebu and Mactan, China. Those red areas will be submerged with the ongoing effects of climate change. So kung nagpuyo ko yung kapita, kung sa mga scale, I think yung kapita. And if we are also to look at the climate change performance index, Philippines is always at the top 10. In 2024, we are ranked 6. So that's the climate change performance index. You have also the global climate risk index. Of 2021, we are number 4. This will take note of who suffers extreme weather conditions due to effects of global change, climate change. And take note when we have health, when we have climate change, health is one of those affected. So additional 150,000 additional deaths. And with the ongoing climate change, our vectors have already evolved as well. Our viruses, so, and even our take note lang sa dengue. Before, it's just rainy season. But karoon all year round na sila. And that goes to show the evolution of our vectors and our viruses as well. This one, World Risk Index report in 2024, Philippines is ranked number 1 for 3 consecutive years. Taking note of our exposure, our vulnerability, our coping capacities. And is that a thing that we could be proud of? But actually looking into it, all the more that this report would show us, all the more that we should be prepared. Down to the community. So what is resilience then? I know, but for our discussion, health resilience particularly would still be part of the universal health care. And so it's our capacity to adapt, to transform, to absorb, adapt, and transform the health system. So that no matter what, ikurin mo, sway, and then makabalong lagi ako. So in order for us to have a safer, adaptive, and resilient community, we should have these 4 thematic areas as well. Prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery and rehabilitation. So these 4 thematic areas are the ones that we should consider in making our plans. Yang musulod ang health promotion, for example, yang musulod ang sa prevention mitigation. Puro kalusutan nga program would be diya sa campus prevention. Preparedness, capacity building, logistics, procurement. Diya musulod sa atong preparedness. Response, of course, and recovery will be activated in times of emergencies and disasters. In normal times, we should prepare for prevention mitigation and preparedness. We should make our communities ready for response and recovery and rehabilitation. And of course, with emphasis on monitoring and evaluation, and including research. Right now, there's inclusion of the green aspect into research as well. So how do we become resilient? So we start with the third age. It's having hard work towards prevention and preparedness while we keep our communities ready in times of emergencies and disasters. So we do the hard work. How? Disasters will always have a negative impact in our communities. And all the more that we should be diligent, we should be persevering to plan out things, to make our communities ready for emergency and disasters. Down the line, there would always be displacement of population. Disaster would entail sickness, injuries, and one have to tanaw. And public health sector has to respond strategically given the fact that there is limited resources. Usahay, limited siya because there are other factors now. Not to mention corruption. So, of course, we need to strengthen public health systems, enhance our capacities, protect our hospitals, improve response to public emergencies, enhance the use of our early warning systems, and build on public health interventions. So through this, mga guidelines and frameworks. Paris Agreement would also be part of that in terms of climate change adaptation. So public health preparedness and response there would still be issues that would exist with our weak and vulnerable health system, low prioritization of green among stakeholders and in the reach, fragmented and coordinated health service delivery, inadequate resources, poor information management system. And those are the things that we should factor in talking about capacitating our communities for resilience. That's why the part of government, sa DOH, sa health sector, we take on a holistic approach to disaster risk reduction and management in health. So how? Through an integrated, systematic or systems-based, multi-sectoral approach, so it does not only involve health, and the analysis of health risk management. So we analyze our risk, we identify our risk, and so that we can manage these risks. Of course, we have the 4 as the magic number for DOH through the phases that we have, as I mentioned: prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery, and rehabilitation. And then through the 4 clusters that we have: public health, water, sanitation and hygiene, nutrition, and mental health and psychosocial support. And we also have the 4 coordinators looking into our plans, our teams, health emergency response teams, our operation center, and the communities that we have. So that we could prevent our vulnerable groups sa mga katalagman, sa mga disasters. So that is DOH. So what does DOH aim to have? Well, let's say goal. One is uninterrupted health service delivery in times of emergencies and disasters. No matter what, naay gihapoy mga high blood load, naay gihapoy diabetes, naay gihapoy tihod, bisan ay katalagan. And that we have still continue our giving out of basic health services. Avert preventable deaths, diseases, and other health effects due to emergencies and disasters. Mga patayon gihapon ang nutrition assessment, ang pag-ensure na water is safe and potable, and of course, giving of vaccines. So, patayon gihapon in emergencies and disasters. And third, zero outbreaks secondary to disasters. It's a blunder on our part sa government if namin katalagman na mag-outbreak, the real outbreak. So one of the 4 health clusters that we have would also ensure na wala yung outbreak na may tabo secondary to emergencies and disasters. And all of these things would entail hard work by our people. So now we on, so it's an all or nothing when we talk about institutionalizing our DOH system as part of preparedness and response. So these are the 4 core indicators. And it's an all or none thing to be called an institutionalized DOH system. So these are mga naglangkog sa each of the indicators. Drainage plan that is approved, updated, and of course funded, disseminated at the community level. Tested as well. So mga natin mga drills, earthquake drills. For our teams, they should be trained and organized. And then we have the health commodities available and accessible, and of our operation center. So that is well coordinated, that is having the communication system and the command and control. So value and travel, hard work, our perseverance, our diligence, dedication of our staff. So as they say, stay positive, work hard, and make it happen. The next E. So E would stand for enablers of success and resilience. So these are the Sentai pillars. Sentai framework is the Bible of disaster risk reduction. And that's why you have the 4 priorities here. Priority 1, people or leaders should be able to understand the disaster risk, for them to strengthen their leadership. And priority 3, for them na magutang o budget. And last, if we already have the budget, of course, we could enhance our disaster preparedness for faster recovery. Mas pas ang pag-iwan na to resilient community. And take note, Sentai framework is the first framework after the UGO na nag-put emphasis on health as well. Of course, we have these frameworks. So, apil na at the national level, our ambition natin 2040 that aids Filipinos to be healthy in Asia by 2040. And of course, we have the Philippine Development Plan. Then down the line, you have RA 911, the Philippine Green Act. You have the RA 1123, their Universal Healthcare Law, and then you have the national policy. You have also the national objectives for health. Of course, balon ng money, isabihan ninyo 5% sa fund, green fund, 30% will be quick response, 70% preparedness. Of course, you have their Universal Healthcare Act. Taking note of timely, effective, and efficient preparedness and response, especially in public health emergencies and disasters. So a functional mitigation system will improve health preparedness and response. That's why it's considered one of the 4 pillars of the Universal Healthcare Law. And we have also the 8-point action agenda, specifically 4, handa sa krisis, 8, protection sa anumang pandemya, and of course, mental health, kaginawaan sa isip at damdamin. Take note in the National Green Plan, that's why health should be part of that or prioritize, because 19 out of the 23 outcomes are health related. So policies, you have there national policy on drainage. You have there the policy on guidelines for safe hospital, protecting, reducing the risk, protecting health facilities, and saving more lives. So that's safe hospital program. And later on, there is that due to climate change, the making sure that our health facilities are green and safe healthcare facilities. Of course, early on, 2021, we've been working on drainage institutionalization, particularly in health department, since 2016. And in 2021, we endorsed the institutionalization of drainage in our region, also local government units. And of course, we also partnered with the LG. Since sila mandated to monitor the LGUs in 2021. And in 2023, we have endorsed a resolution on recommendation of integration of the drainage to the local green plan. And in 2024, nagawas ng national na mainstreaming of drainage in local development. So, nag-una sa region. And next, we have the PH plan as a contributory to the climate change action plan, putting emphasis on health delivery systems responsive to climate change risks. So kanino, drainage institutionalized as part of UHC, and we have there the three areas for universal healthcare: managerial, technical, and financial. Then we have there the frameworks. No? So inputs, processes, you have their outputs, the 10 P's, you have the outcomes, you have our goals accordingly, and making sure that we have our resilient health system. So 5K vision. Kaligtasan pangkalusugan sa kalamidad sa kamay ng komunidad. So top Mr. siya. Kaligtasan pangkalusugan sa kalamidad sa kamay ng komunidad. So mao siya ang operational framework during prevention mitigation and during emergencies and disasters. Policies and laws would be very critical, crucial. So of course, we have the drainage institutionalization in province-wide and city-wide health systems. So it's currently being monitored. Our 5 cities in 3 cities and 2 provinces in Central Visayas are being monitored as well for their functionality. And we have also for drainage institutionalization, policies would play a critical role. So there are LGUs have already responded and have their institutionalized drainage system to name a few. Lalagyan, Villanilla, and of course, Mandawi City. And value and gravel would be E for excellence. If we are determined, then we can achieve excellence as well. Next, success has nothing to do with what you gain in life or accomplish for yourself. It's what we do for others. At the end, what we do for the people that we serve, especially if we are in the economy. Then A would be assessing our risks and vulnerabilities. We have already these hazard mapping, COVID-19, dengue outbreaks, so asa mga areas na vulnerable, and that forms part of our hazard mapping. But down the line, we have also our National Health Facility Registry, which is GIS-based. So makita na to even our dialysis centers naka-register siya. And we are also mapping out our drainage institutionalization in Central Visayas. So that's why we have this mapping as well. So makadetermine ta kung kinsa itong mga LGUs ang tabang nito. Part of our assessing our risk of vulnerability, especially in times of emergencies and disasters, that's why we have our WASH. This picture is taken during the typhoon event. Ang tingin sila, nilapang sila nakakasapaan o our medical teams. Our WASH teams, to be specific. Also, part of our assessing our risks and vulnerabilities. Kanto, di ba, temperature check. So kung patang i-check na. But actually, that is part of assessing our risks and vulnerabilities. Physical well-being is within our group. And of course, retrofitting, taking note of our structures, buildings and infrastructure. Conduct of drills and exercises. On natin drills every quarter. Earthquake drill and fire drill to test our plan. In Central Visayas, we do yearly MCM, mass casualty management simulation exercise, and also drills. And that's why we have our going in the first quarter National Health Set to happen on March 13. And I hope each of your institution will also take part as part of your testing your plans. We have also the rest of the schedule for the NSET up to November 6 for the fourth quarter. And value and rabbit will be altruism, which is the opposite of egoism. And self-sacrifice would really play an important role, especially if we are in government service. Our willingness to care for others. That's what matters as well. So risk comes from not knowing what you're doing as well. And elder, we live and lead by example. So, pag COVID-19, diba? So, when we say leaders, they are people that could influence and inspire others. And if we could motivate other people to do what is the righteous thing, then of course, we live and lead by example as well. And also, the seal of good local governance will be part of that for our LGUs. And that's why we have there the institutionalized greenwich system. So, for 5 years now, we've been giving out awards, recognitions to deserving LGUs that have and health facilities, deserving accolades for their efforts. And take note, we build on resilient health systems through the Health Leadership and Governance Program, HLGP, looking into the Bridging Leadership Framework. So, we have almost all of our mayors enrolled in Central Visayas for HLGP program. And the value and ravel will be leadership. Leaders who have the vision, who are trustworthy, who are humble enough. That's one of our characteristics of being a leader. So a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and of course, shows the way. That's why we live and lead by example. There will be top-notch quality health services, trailblazing innovations. And of course, the health sector part, and super health center, mega health centers, there's also the construction of the regional specialty centers. Just recently, there is the Tigtas Pinoy Center Act, RA number 12076, which is the institutionalization mandating each LGU to have a permanent evacuation center. And to ensure that there is delivery of basic health services, we have the 4 clusters. So now we have component services, we have medical public health, we have nutrition, we have the water, sanitation, and hygiene, and we have mental health and psychosocial support. And very important, that's why you are here as well. You take part more studies, research as well, evidence-based information. So, mao siya ang sa NORA 2023 to 2028. And nakapaloob na niya ang health security, emergency, and disaster risk management as part of research agenda. Value and travel, E for transparency and accountability. Truth will prevail. Integrity. Doing the right thing even when others are not looking. So healthcare is not just for the few, the elite or the affluent. It's for everyone. H there will be high caliber, competent health workforce. So, in Western Pacific, where Philippines is at, physicians, nurses, midwives, total workers. In Central Visayas, No, so we have more or less 1,000 unemployed, no, in each of our municipalities and cities. And we have, no, sa health workforce, may natin 5,000 per, one is to 5,000 midwives, nurses, one is to 10,000. Though we are, kind of siya, challenge siya nato, especially for our healthcare, because of brain drain as well, and with what is going on now, nawalan of motivation even our healthcare workers. So again, this is our call to action, the part of the sector, the challenge on healthcare workforce. And more so in disaster, health workforce should be needed to respond. So we have there as well, handa sa crisis, but at the same time, looking through the rights and privileges of the healthcare workers. So these are the competency domains of all health professionals in a disaster, so to speak of that. I value and ground living human beings. At the end, we are still human. And we should be honest, there should be integrity in our healthcare workers. But hindi natin nakakaloob sa ng mindfulness, our self-awareness. But again, we can only give what we have. So mga kung sobra namin na kayo, certainly prayer na lang. That's it. So it's about having the right people with right abilities in the right place at the right time. Next is the advocates of change. So that's why we have people adapt new practices and forming habits because of messages that show them how they can benefit. So mga katong COVID-19, but apart sa pinuni pag katong tamang ehersisyo, tamang diet, ehersisyo, and of course, discipline. There's a long process of behavior change, and that is also our challenge. So we have to have people who are aware in order for them to proceed with the rest, approving, intending, practicing, and last, advocating. It's a long way, but there's still. Di ka mo na ito paglaon, kaya mo na lang ang naakikot namin. Hope. Being reactive, managing the change, being proactive, influencing the change, and last, being transformative. We create the change. So, value and travel, adaptability. It's our autonomy and being open-minded as well. So, be the change you want to see the world, as Mahatma Gandhi had said. As there will be sustainable, socially cohesive, strengthened capacities, and systemic approach. So, these are the things that we have heard about. Big reach planning, and now we are institutionalizing the barangay reach at the grassroots level. So in Central Visayas, we are doing that. So kami lang with the help of our DMOs as well, our DOH representative on the field. Programs, we have also that. Basic life support, SNA down to the barangay level. We also give technical assistance visits. We monitor each of our LGUs for drainage institutionalization every year. And this time, we are also monitoring barangay drainage institutionalization for this year, starting this year. Of course, there's no management without monitoring and evaluation. That's how we can sustain our programs. So that's why monitoring and evaluation is very critical. So effective health response to disaster would rely on a functional drainage system. So more siya ang health emergency and disaster response management. So management of the event, management of the victims, management of the information system, management of non-human resources, and management of service providers. So at the regional office, we have our 24/7 operation center. So na yung mga staff na mutubag reside 24/7. Since we are talking about operation center, information management will be part of that. So, and linking that with other agencies as well. So, more of communication and coordination on the parts of operation center. And it's also on how we apply this information management. So, we have the 4 thematic areas, but of course, how we produce these things. Gathering of data through analysis, through monitoring evaluation, so that in return, we can come up with and use this through our plans. Then we have the code alert and early warning system, code white, code blue, code red, code orange as well for health sector. Health sector na siya because OCD has also their own. And our challenge now is how to marry this. Currently, health and OCD, the engineers are talking it out how to integrate this two. So that is also another call to action on the part of SAP, disaster risk reduction management. One health approach. This one is also very critical when we talk of emerging and emergent diseases. Because in one way or another, these diseases are connected to agriculture. These are connected to the environment. And that's why we have to have the One Health approach. That should also be part of our plans. And of course, you have there the NMC response, preparedness response structure. So you have the vice chairman for each of the thematic areas, we know that. And for response, we have disability. And health there would be the 4 health clusters. We have also adapted the incident command system in the region. That's why every now and then we have events, we have the incident management team led by our regional director. Same with this one. COVID-19. Value and travel, you have service, the passion to serve, caring for others. So systems thinking is a discipline of seeing the whole. Of course, that's why we have the holistic approach, the whole of society approach. And O there would stand for opportunity driven and outcome based. So we have hashtag 0711. If you try to call that sa Globe, it's for free. That is our number to call for patient referral in Region 7. That is operational since COVID-19 as part of our One Health Command Center, but panayon siya. But take note, this our electronic referral system has been there since 2018. So we are one of the regions, if not the first one institutionalized such. And of course, we call our patient navigation and referral unit. So we have the system currently, including the birthing centers, both public and private, are on board. Even our private hospitals are also on board in terms of our referral system. So you have, of course, the healthcare providers network, and we have integrated our e-referral into the healthcare providers network. So referring the right patient to the right health facility at the right time, all the time. So that's our mantra for our referral in Central Visayas. Meeting part also sa health na part, we have the POH Academy. Some of you have already done mga courses sa e-platform, e-learning platform, and that is part of our opportunities, especially during COVID-19. We have also, during COVID-19, at the mga quarantine centers, we have coordinated with quarantine hotels. All of these things are because we see the opportunity to be partners with them. Of course, surveillance. In Region 7, we are also currently enhancing our surveillance to the point that our regional director is looking beyond the establishment of the cities. Value environment, optimism, and originality, our innovation. That's why we have to be creative and resourceful in corporate service. So train our minds to always find the silver lining in every situation. Positive vibes na always. And there will be nurturing the needs of the people, the basic needs, especially in times of emergencies and disasters. And we do not buy the service packages that we have. The 4 health clusters. So of course, sa evacuation centers, we also cater to the needs of the affected population. So mga dahil, so kita na mga ipanatan na ito. The component services of the 4 health clusters. So giving of logistics, looking through our people, so triage, medical consultations in evacuation centers. There's also the act on basic education students to undergo age-appropriate basic life support. And we have also coordinated that with them. On the other one, people, we have trained facilitators for PLS as well. Of course, ito na yung group, mental health. So, most of the time, pila naman ka mga 2020, COVID-19, type of event, Mount Carmel response, we have deployed mga mental health and psychosocial support teams as well. Ano hindi mo na rin yung tawag maglao, mga MHSS at nights. Then, deployment of teams, commodities to our affected population. That's part of nurturing the needs of the people. And this one, Purong Kalusugan. It's a program that is being instituted just currently. So, looking into health down to the grassroots level. Value and travel, nobly. So, professionalism, our commitment to serve. So to make a difference in someone's life, you don't have to be brilliant, rich, beautiful, or perfect. You just have to show care. So NE there last, educating, empowering, and engaging with the community. So this will involve community engagement. Because at the forefront, it's our community that will manage the system, and at the same time, our families to own the system. So, the 5K vision. So, people in the community need to know what is best for their health, most especially during emergencies. More than 5K package. Kalaman, knowledge, kasanayan, skills, tandaan, preparedness, kagamitan, logistics, and kapatiran, networking. And then, emergency blue packs. So now that we are going into community resilience, this should be made aware as well, especially sa family. It's not our culture yet, but eventually, moving, it will be. So, cultivating a culture of safety, preparedness, and resilience with the family, with the barangay linkage as well. So, no hands-on CPR, we have gone through it down to the communities. And this one, health promotion activities as well. One very particular program health promotion is the PICA campaign during COVID-19, and it will be crucial and helpful as well. So value and travel, empathy. Nagbalala mo what is empathy, value and empathy. And next, what's important with this one is as well as ownership of the program, of our issues and concerns. That we have the shared responsibility as well. More than we talk about, we make our leaders as well. So show me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. So that's why we should involve our community. Don't forget to also celebrate small wins. Anyway, is worth celebrating. Mental health as well. So all in all, we have health as one. Unity will be the value and rapid. Harmony, cooperation, and teamwork. So, as the World Health Organization Director General had said, everything is a shared effect. And alone we lose, together we win. That's why health could not do it alone. We need other sectors to participate as well in building resilient community. So it's a shifting of paradigms. When we talk of English, before it's event-based, now it's risk-based. Before it's reactive, now it's being proactive. Before it's single hazard, but this time it's more of all hazard. Before, focus on hazard lang siya. This time, capacity and vulnerability. Unsa ang mga vulnerabilities and we manage them. Single agency, now whole of society. Separate responsibility. This time, it is a shared responsibility. We all have our share, our roles to play. And response focus, this time is management and vulnerability management focus. Before, planning for the community, but this time, planning with the community. It's a whole new perspective as well. So with emergency preparedness and response, it should be government-led, community-enabled, but people-centered. So alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So lastly, I will share this to you as people in government service, in institutions, in this field of how will you prevent or reduce disaster health risks. And with public health depends on winning over hearts and minds. It's not enough to just have a good policy. You have to convince people to actually follow it. That's the essence of public health. And with that, the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is given away. So, this one, just sharing to you the details. If you have queries or thoughts operations center, particularly talking about emergencies and disasters. So I think that would be all. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yango. And now it's the time for our open forum. So Sir Joshua will facilitate the open forum.
It's okay, we will just take at least 3 questions in terms of time because we have other parts of the program. So 1, 2, last one, 3. Okay, I will go